The horizon bleeds a reluctant pink, as if the sun itself hesitates to rise over a continent scarred by steel and sorrow. Below, the North Sea churns like a cauldron of ink, waves capped in frost, whispering secrets to the wind. Above, at 27,000 feet, the air thins to a razor's edge. 60 degrees, a cold that seeps into bones like regret, turning breath to crystal and doubt to ice. This is the 8th Air Force's anvil, the anvil upon which the Reich is hammered, mission after mission. For 9 months, since the first thunderous raids of 1943, American boys, farmers' sons, mechanics' heirs, dreamers from dusty towns, have climbed into the bellies of B-17 flying fortresses. Nicknamed for their armor-plated grit, these behemoths are cathedrals of aluminum and fury. 4 engines growling like chained beasts, bomb bays heavy with the weight of retribution. 500-pounders, 1,000-pounders, ordnance meant to crack the Nazi spine at its industrial heart. But the skies are no sanctuary. The Luftwaffe, masters of the aerial domain, weaves through the clouds like wolves in a blizzard. Messerschmitt Bf-109s and Focke-Wulf FW-190s, sleek as scimitars, etched with kill tallies like macabre rosaries. Their pilots are not monsters, but men. Bavarians with lighter in their throats, Prussians with dueling scars, all bound by the Führer's unyielding decree. Shoot first. Mercy is mutiny. The flak guns below, 88mm throats belching black blossoms, add their symphony of shrapnel, turning the heavens into a frozen inferno where formations fracture like stained glass. The cockpit hums with a low throb of right cyclones, propellers slicing air thick as molasses. Charlie Brown, 21, from the haulers of West Virginia, hunches over the yoke. His flight suit hangs loose on a frame still soft from boyhood, freckles dust cheeks flushed by altitude's fever. Eyes like polished chestnuts, sharp yet shadowed. I've flown enough to know the math. 1 in 3 don't come back. But today's just another run. Beside him, co-pilot Pinky Luke, 22, from Idaho's potato fields, checks his gauges with ritual precision. Fuel's steady, Charlie. Mixture rich. We're fat and happy in the box. His voice cuts through the intercom's static, a lifeline in the roar. Pinky's hands, calloused from hay bales, steady the co-yoke, steady as she goes. That's all we got. Behind them, the crew nests in their steel womb, 9 souls crammed into corridors of wire and rivet. Navigator Al Yelsonko, Ukrainian blood in his veins, plots vectors on frost-rhymed charts, his accent a soft burr over the buzz. IP in 5, boys. Initial point. Then it's hot. Waist gunner Stanley Kasuba and Manuel Santiago, one Polish firebrand, the other Puerto Rican poet, huddle over 50 cal Brownings, muzzles probing the void. Ball turret gunner Bob Anderson, a cherub-faced Minnesotan, curls fetal in his glass egg, heater flickering like a candle in a gale. Tail gunner Hugh Eckenrode, 19, from Pennsylvania coal country, peers through his plexiglass dome, the world a smeared watercolor of gray. Mom's letters in my pocket. Come home, Huey. Sky's too big today, too empty already. Top turret, Wilfred Nellie Forbes oils his guns, a ritual against the chill that numbs fingers to claws. Radio operator Frank Mazzano, Sicilian roots deep as his silence, taps Morse to the lead ship, all clear. Formation tight. And Bombardier Lloyd Jennings, the quiet one from Kansas Wheat, cradles his Norden sight like a lover. Targets locked, just math and mustard gas clouds below. They are the 379th Bomb Group, RAF Seething's Ragged Angels, Ye Olde Pub their mount, Nose-Art a Johnny Tavern sign faded by flak kisses. Mission 25 for Charlie, Bremen, the wolf's lair of U-boat cradles. Intel whispers of heavy defenses, but the briefings are brass, tight formation, mutual support, bombs away, and ghosts be damned. The pub joins the stream, a silver arrow in a quiver of 100 bombers. Engines syncopate in thunderous harmony, contrails feathering like funeral plumes. Below, England's patchwork, hedgerows stitched in rhyme, slips away. The channel yawns, a gray maw, over water now, no turning back. Charlie keys the mic. Crew, this is Brown. Check in. Sound off. A chorus crackles back. Co-pilot Green. Nav, on the beam. Stand, port waist, itchy trigger. Starboard, saints be with us. Ball cozy. Tails wagging, skipper. Top, frozen but feisty. Radio silent, but listening. Bombs primed. Laughter, brittle as frost, webs the air. Brothers in a bottle. If we break together. The formation tightens, an anvil of steel against the dawn. Fighters prowl the fringes, P-47 Thunderbolts, stubby guardians with belly tanks sloshing. But the Reich's frontier looms. Dutch dunes dusted white, then the fatherland's fist. Flak probes like black fingers testing the swarm. Charlie's eyes flick to the lead ship, a mile ahead, a ghostly sibling in the haze. Stay in the box, that's life. The intercom hums with banter. Stan razzing Manuel about salsa in the mess, Hugh crooning a scrap of White Christmas to chase the chill. But under it, the ritual of defiance. Rosaries fingered, lucky coins palmed, letters reread in the mind's eye. Home, that's the word they chase. Charleston for Charlie, fiddles and fireflies. Pinky's Boise, endless blue. Al's imagined America, free of old world's chains. The IP flashes past, a bend in the Weser, frozen artery of the Reich. Bomb doors wide open, wind howling through gaps like banshees. Lloyd's voice calm as Kansas. Target acquired, subs in pens, steady. Flak erupts, not probing now salvos. Black bursts bloom, stitching the sky with jagged lace. Shrapnel rattles fuselages like frozen hail on aluminum skin, pinging off the pub's hide. A fortress to port yaws, wingtip sheared, spiraling earthward in silent scream. Chutes bloom late, too late, silhouettes against the pyre. Charlie hold formation, evasive starboard. A direct hit. The world fractures. Flak shreds the nose like rice paper. Plexiglass shatters in a diamond storm. Lloyd's station erupts, controls vaporized, blood misting the bombardier's ghost. The pub lurches, number 3 engine coughing black smoke, oil slicks weeping from cowls. Hydraulic line severed, flaps limp, rudder sluggish. AL screams from the nav table, glass shards carving his face. L. Nose gone, I'm hit, ah, Christ! Pinky wrestles the yoke, feet dancing pedals. Charlie, we've lost pressure. Altimeter spinning. Worse, the tail. A 20mm cannon shell gift from some unseen FW-190 kisses Hugh's dome. The boy Huey, come home, never hears it. Decapitated in an instant, his station a red ruin, headless form slumped over guns. The intercom goes dead there, a void in the chorus. Bandits. 6 o'clock low. Silence, the crew knows. No time for grief, war's math is merciless. The salvo falls, 4,000 pounds of high explosive thundering into concrete pens. Secondary blasts ripple orange flowers in the white. But the pub drifts, formation fracturing around her. Fighters swarm now, 109 slicing bellies, 190s hammering high. A sister ship erupts starboard, debris raining like confetti from hell. Charlie banks hard, evading a head-on pass, tracers stitching the canopy inches from his boot. Charlie bob ball, cover low. Stan Manuel, waist give 'em hell. Guns bark, 50 cal thunder, brass cartridges avalanching floors. A 190 peels away smoking, but the toll mounts. Stan takes shrapnel in the thigh, blood pooling on catwalks. Manuel drags him amidships, tourniquet improvised from belts. Hold, Hermano, we're going home. Al, bandaged by Nellie, plots blind. Rendezvous point, English coast 150 miles, but we're low, 15,000 and dropping, engines unequal. The pub limps, a wounded giant trailing smoke plumes, hydraulic fluid freezing on trailing edges. Crew visible through rents, pleading figures in the glass, no chutes lest they ditch over the Reich. Flak fades behind, but the North Sea looms, a gray shroud. Fighters circle distant, sharks scenting blood. They are alone. The formation's ghost, once 100 strong, now a memory in the mirrors. Radio crackles with maydays, but seething's too far. Morzine freezes in veins, oxygen masks fog with fierce sweat. This is it, Charlie thinks, yoke slick in gloved hands. The lottery calls our number. The pub ghosts low, 8,000 feet, skimming clouds like a thief. German airfields prick the landscape, Schleswig, Oldenburg, Bethel towers for the hunter. Radios below already whisper, straggler. Crippled, easy meat. Ground crews scurry, fueling Me-109s for the chase. In the cockpit, Pinky glances at Charlie, eyes mirrors of the unspoken. Pinky, we make the coast or we don't. Your call, skipper. Charlie nods, jaw set. Boys behind me, that's the only math. The engines thrum mismatched, 2 strong, 1 wounded, 1 dying, a dirge in the wind. They braced for the end in Ye Olde Pub's dying roar. They didn't know mercy was already airborne. The cockpit is a confessional of chaos, instruments flickering like dying stars in a vault of frost-rimed steel. Wind screams through the nose's ragged maw, a banshee howl at 6 degrees Celsius, clawing at flight suits with fingers of pure malice. Plexiglass fractures spiderweb the forward view, turning the world beyond into a smeared mosaic of cloud and contrail. Charlie Brown grips the yoke, knuckles bone white beneath gloves crusted with ice, his breath fogging the altimeter. 8,000 feet and falling, a slow hemorrhage to the sea. We were a formation once, 100 sisters, wings overlapping like prayers. Now, just us. The ghost in the mirrors. Pinky Luke hunches beside him, one hand on the throttle quadrant, the other staunching a gash on his forehead where shrapnel kissed like a jealous lover. Blood beads freeze mid-trickle, ruby jewels on pale skin. Pinky. Number 3's feathered, Charlie. Can't nurse her much longer. We're yawing left, compensate 10 degrees. Charlie nods, feet heavy on the rudder pedals, boots slick with melting frost. The controls fight him, sluggish as a drunkard's limbs, hydraulics bleeding out in dark rivulets along the fuselage. Copy. I'll talk to me. Heading? From the navigator's table, a makeshift triage amid charts and sextants, Al Yelisenko slumps against the bulkhead. His face is a mask of crimson streaks, glass shards glinting like cruel confetti in his cheek. Nellie Forbes, the top turret gunner, looms over him. A giant of a man from Nova Scotia, his flight jacket torn at the elbows from wrestling the guns. He presses a compress of gauze and duct tape to Al's wound, the adhesive cracking in the cold. Easy, lad. Breathe shallow. That's it. Al's voice rasps through the intercom, laced with pain and that unbreakable Ukrainian lilt, a thread of the old world in this new hell. 090 magnetic. Coast in 90 miles, but crosswinds. We're drifting south. Over the drink, then England. If the engines hold. If. The word hangs, unspoken, heavier than the bomb load they jettisoned in panic. The crew knows the odds. Stragglers don't make it. Not over the North Sea, where the water claims more than flak. Ditch, and its survival suits in swells like mountains, exposure turning limbs to lead in minutes. Deeper in the whale's belly, the waist section is a charnel house of wind and wound. The ship shudders with every gust, aluminum skin groaning like a beast in labor. Stanley Kasuba sprawls on the catwalk, leg bound in a hasty splint of wood and wire, Manuel Santiago kneeling beside him. Stan's face twists, a Polish scrapper from Chicago's South Side, tattoos of eagles inked under his sleeves, but his eyes burn with that immigrant fire. Feels like a hot poker, Manny. But I'll walk off this bird, you wait. Tell me again about that girl in San Juan, the one with the hips like the Pyrenees. Manuel chuckles, a rumble from Puerto Rican hills as he tightens the knot. His own hands tremble, nicked by glass, but steady as maracas in a salsa. Aye, Stanley, you flirt with death, and now with Maria. She dances boleros that make the saints blush. When we land, you buy the rum. Deal? Deal. It's their ritual, this defiance. Stories spun from home to stitch the fraying now. Beyond the rents in the fuselage, the North Sea scrolls like leaden silk, waves gnashing teeth of foam. The cold bites deeper here, unshielded, turning breath to shards that prick the lungs. Frost rims the gun ports. 50 cals seized half-frozen, barrels pointed futile at the empty rear. Frank Mazzano hunches at the radio desk, a shadow in sheepskin, fingers numb on the Morse key. Sicilian silence suits him. He taps queries to the ether. Straggler, position 53 north, 4 east, request vector, but the reply is static snow, the formation too far, too fractured. Godfather would say family first. These boys, my family now. Below the belly, in the glass womb of the ball turret, Bob Anderson curls like a comma. The world spins lazy through his dome, clouds scudding, sea tilting, but his eyes strain rearward, hunting shadows. At 20, from Minnesota's lakes, he's the baby, voice still cracking on bad days. The heater sputters, a feeble glow against the chill that seeps through seams, numbing toes to phantoms. Mom's quilt, that's what I miss. Warmth that doesn't flicker out. His guns track a phantom, a glint on the horizon, friend or foe? But the turrets jam, servos whining in protest. Into intercom, boyish tremor. Ball clear, skipper, nothing but ghosts back here. Hugh, he say anything? Silence answers, thicker than oil smoke. The tail gunner's void echoes, a black hole in their bond. No one names it yet. Grief is a luxury for the living. Back forward, the cockpit's vigil wears on. Charlie scans the mirrors, empty quadrants where the box should be, that fragile formation now a memory's smear. We flew tight once, wings 6 feet from neighbors, engines thundering in chorus. Mutual cover, that's the prayer. Now it's just hope, blind as a miner's lamp. Pinky pulls a flask from his breast pocket, brandy pilfered from the officer's mess, and passes it. The cap cracks free with a pop like gunfire. Pinky, medicinal, 1 sip, keeps the blood moving. Charlie takes it, the burn a small sun in his chest, chasing the frost. To the pub, stubborn old girl, and to Hugh, he bought it clean. no lingering. Pinky nods, eyes distant. Idaho winters taught me cold, but this freezes the soul. He was humming Bing Crosby when it hit, "I'll be home for Christmas." Fitting, eh? We'll toast him proper in the hangar. The crew chimes in, voices weaving a web over the wire. Aye, and I'll carve the bird myself, with pierogies on the side. And a row gandules for Huey. To all of us, we're the lucky ones today. Are we? Bob's whisper cuts through. Guys, fuel state's redlining. We got maybe an hour. Truth lands like flak. The tanks leak from a severed line, avgas dripping into the bilge, a fire waiting for spark. Oxygen bottles hiss low, masks fogging with carbon dioxide size. Morpheus whispers, the morphine syrettes in the kit frozen brittle, but they ration it for Al, whose face pales to parchment. The pub limps onward, a silhouette against the slate-gray swell, smoke trails feathering like surrender flags. Contrails of the departed formation linger high, ghosts mocking their descent. Fighters, none yet. The Luftwaffe sated on the main feast, but the radio murmurs warnings. Bandits scrambling from Jever. Easy pickings. Inside, the rituals deepen. Nelly recites a fisherman's psalm, hands clasped over his turret crank. Frank fingers a scapular medal, whispering Ave Marias in the hum. Manuel sketches a quick saint on Stan's cast, San Juan Bautista, protector of the wounded. Al charts hypotheticals, pencil trembling, ditch points, wind drifts, slim chances. Charlie leads the litany, voice steady as the yoke. Crew, remember the drill. If we go in, May West's on, dinghies out, flare the colors. Fighters might be P-47s off the coast, wave 'em down. Laughter cracks again, fragile. Wave? With what, my good leg? I'll knit him a scarf from my long johns. It's glue, this gallows humor, binding boys from disparate dirts into something unbreakable. West Virginia hills for Charlie, where banjos weep and rivers run coal-black. Idaho spuds for Pinky, earth that yields without question. Ukrainian steps in Al's blood, endless as the sea below. They share no blood, but the pub's belly has baptized them brothers, steel womb fierce. We fight for each other now. Not flags, not factories, just this. Getting home. The tale is a tomb, Hughes station a frozen diorama of the end. His guns droop muzzle down, spent casings scattered like brass petals. Blood crusts the deck, a Rorschach of loss. No one ventures back, the intercom's dead end is warning enough. But in the quiet, they mourn by proxy. A shared breath, a fist to heart. Lloyd Jennings, spared the nose's fury by a bulkhead's whim, mans the chin turret now, eyes watering from wind-whipped tears. Kansas flatlands call him, amber waves under harvest moon, but here he's gunner by necessity. I saw it, Skipper, the shell, just there, he didn't even flinch. Charlie's reply crackles soft. He was brave, Lloyd, braver than us, we carry him now. The ship banks gentle, evading a thermal updraft, wings creaking in protest, fuel gauges whisper doom, needles kissing empty. The North Sea's chill presses, a vice on the hull, frost etching runes on the windows. Hope? It's blind, a faith in the formation's ghost, that spectral box they left behind, willing it to summon rescue from the void. Land pricks the horizon, Frisian islands, low humps of dune and dike, dusted in December's shroud. Flak's echo fades, but radar's eye winks, German fields stir, props spinning up. The pub's shadow skims waves, too low for chaff, too wounded for climb. Inside, the bond tightens like a noose turned lifeline. Prayers mingle with profanities, stories loop like rosaries. Charlie's first solo, buzzing the family barn till Dad shook the shotgun. Pinky's harvest moon kiss, stolen under apple boughs. Al's village songs, sung to stars over the Dnieper. They defy the dying ship with memory's heat, rituals against the reaper. We're not done, Charlie thinks, scanning the mirrors one last time. Not while we breathe together. They thought the sky held only predators, until one chose to shepherd instead. The airfield squats like a coiled serpent amid the flatlands, runways scarred by winter's grip, cracked concrete veined with frost, hangars hunched against the gale like weary sentinels. Messerschmitt Bf-109s nestle under camouflage nets, their gull-winged forms dappled in RLM-74 gray-green, a mottled shroud against prying Allied eyes. Mechanics in oil-black overalls swarm the tarmac, props idling in throaty coughs, the air thick with the tang of avgas and cordite residue. Overhead, the sky is a leaden vault, clouds scudding low, pregnant with snow that never quite falls. This is Jagdgeschwader 11's roost, the Luftwaffe's fraying bulwark against the bomber streams. For Franz Stigler, 28, from the Bavarian hills where Edelweiss clings to crags, it's both forge and grave. 27 victories, each a notch, a name erased. But the ledger lies, it tallies machines, not the men inside. His white 12, a battle-worn Gustav, bears the scars, flak patches like quilted wounds, kill bars faded under engine heat. Franz strides the dispersal hut, flight boots crunching gravel, his leather jacket zipped against the bite, not just cold, but the chill of oaths that bind tighter than chains. Inside the hut, a fug of cigarette smoke and schnapps clings to the rafters. Pilots cluster around a potbelly stove. Boys mostly 19 and green, veterans like Franz etched with desert dust from Tunis sands. Hannes Trautloff, the Commodore, paces like a panther, his iron cross glinting on a tunic threadbare at the cuffs. At 34, he's a relic of the Spanish skies, voice a gravel whip. The stream's broken, but stragglers bleed through. Radars lighting up, a cripple low over the coast. B-17 tail number faint, your sector, Stigler, finish it. Franz nods, eyes on the ops board, grease pencil tracks snaking from Bremen, arrows marking the swarm's route. Orders, always orders. Shoot the wounded, the parachutists, the crews waving white, no quarter. The Führer's edict, etched in every briefing, mercy is treason, punishable by the wall. But Trautloff's creed echoes softer, a parachute's whisper from 40. Earlier memory, voiceover. If I ever see you shoot at a man in a chute, I'll shoot you myself. We are hunters, not butchers. Hunters. Franz lights a Rimpsma, the flame guttering in the draft, inhaling deep to steady the tremor in his fingers. Africa taught me that. Rommel's eagles diving on Tommy's bailing out, we let them drift, chivalry in the cockpit. Or madness. His brother August lost to a Wellington's fire in 41, his mentor shot down over the channel, body never found. The war chews its own, spits out ghosts. 27 kills, Spitfires over Dieppe, Lancasters above the Ruhr, a P-38 that spun into the Elbe like a falling leaf. Each trigger pull a calculus, survival divided by duty. The klaxon wails, a banshee's keen. Trautloff, scrambles, Stigler, lead blue flight. Altitude Angels 5, Vector 270. No heroics, Vectors and Vic tight as a fist. Franz salutes, crisp and turns for the tarmac. Blue flight, me, young Eric with his fresh paint, and Carl, the one-eyed ace from Crete. They mount the ladders, canopies thunking shut, the cockpit enveloping like a confessional. Switches flip, magnetos whine, fuel pumps thrum, the dashboard blooming green in the gloom. Franz's hands dance the ritual, trim tabs set, guns armed, supercharger humming low. White 12, my white 12. 80 hours on the clock, and she still sings. The Gustav surges, tail skimming gravel, then lifts in a howl of wind and Merlin fury. No, DB601, liquid-cooled heart pounding 1,475 horses. Franz hauls back, undercarriage folding with a hydraulic sigh, climbing steep into the murk. Below, the field shrinks, hangars to toys, mechanics to ants. The North Sea unfolds, a slate expanse veined with whitecaps, the Dutch coast a hazy smudge astern. Radio crackles to life, Trautloff's voice a distant thunder. Blue leader, bandits at 2 o'clock low. Straggler confirmed. Fortress, smoking, no escort, engage at will. At will. Franz banks left, wingmen slotting in echelon. Eric's white 6 tight on his starboard, Carl's scarred 14 lagging port. The formation slices clouds, altimeter spinning to 5,000 meters, the air thinning to elixir, cold sharpening senses to a blade's edge. Up here, it's pure. No mud, no screams. Just the stick, the sky, the enemy reduced to specks. The canopy is Franz's world. A bubble of plexiglass fogged at the edges, Revi 16 sight glowing phosphor green. His flight suit creaks with movement, oxygen mask dangling like a noose, the smell of leather and fierce sweat a constant companion. Gauges whisper vitals, oil pressure steady, coolant nominal, but the true measure is the horizon, scoured for silver ghosts. 27. But today, the cripple calls. Radar's ping echoes in his mind, the B-17 adrift like a leaf in the gale, crew visible through rents, pleading in their fragility. Ground chatter buzzes, easy kill. Finish the bomber, claim the crew. But Trautloff's words claw back, the parachute code, chivalry's fragile thread in the Reich's iron weave. Eric's voice chirps, boyish, over the RT. Eric lead contact, 11 o'clock low, Angels 3, big bird trailing black. Franz peers, the spec resolving. Ye Olde Pub, a hulking shadow against the sea's gleam, engines mismatched in their dirge, smoke feathering from a cowl like a widow's veil, wounded. No fight left. He throttles up, The Gustav leaping forward at 400 knots, diving shallow to close the gap. Wingmen fan out, instinctive, pincer the prey. This is the dance. Line up, squeeze, tally-ho. But as range telescopes 2 miles one, the bomber swells, details etching sharp, shattered nose yawning empty, waist gunners slumped over frozen Brownings, figures in the cockpit gesturing wild. Not surrender flags, but desperation's wave. Go around. We're done. A tail void where the gunner should be, blood frost on the glass. Franz's thumb hovers the gun button, 20mm cannons and 13mm machine guns lev, rounds chambered. One burst. Cockpit through the top turret. It's protocol. Victory 28. The moral chasm yawns, duty's abyss, where kill instinct wars with the boy from Obertraubling who once spared a rabbit in the snow. They're men like me, boys even, thrust into this by Caesars they never chose. The Gustav ghosts in from 6 o'clock high, sun glint off the pub's flanks, a halo mocking the hunt. Franz eases the nose, gunsight pipper centering the tail. Easy meat, no wake turbulence to dodge. Eric whoops. I've got the left engine lead, Fox 2. No, Franz keys the mic, voice steel. Hold fire, Blue. Hold. I have the shot, stand by. The world slows, wind rushing canopy like a held breath. Through the sight, the bomber's crew stirs, a co-pilot glancing rear, eyes wide in the glass, gunners tracking futile, turrets jammed. They see me. The black cross, death's calling card. Franz's heart hammers, not adrenaline's fire, but conscience's quake. Shoot, and it's just another line. Don't, and it's the rope for me, Gestapo's kiss. Memories cascade. Tunis 42, a Spitfire pilot bailing out, Franz peeling away as flames lick the silk. You fly straight, Englishman. Godspeed. The crewman's wave, distant thanks. Or Crete, Carl's eye lost to a hurricane's hail, Franz nursing him home through flak storms. Brothers in blue, bound by the sky's code. The pipper holds true, range 400 meters, point blank for the kill. Franz's finger tightens, world narrowing to the trigger's curve. For the fatherland, for August, for the ghosts. But the chasm deepens, the bomber drifts lower, waves gnashing below, no shoots lest they drift to German sands. They're fighting for home, same as me. Charleston, Boise, names I can't pronounce, but I know the ache. Lead gives, it's hanging there. Stand down, I assess, liar's words. The truth, a pause. Infinite as the void. Franz rolls the stick, easing off the trigger, the Gustav flashing past in a whip of wings, not firing but shadowing. The bomber rocks in his slipstream, but holds, a wounded behemoth too stubborn to fold. Franz pulls up, circling wide, white 12 a silver needle in the gray. Wingman orbit confused, Eric's voice probing. Kill confirmed? I saw the pass. Negative, structural, might explode, we shadow, report back. Lie upon lie, each a brick in treason's wall. But in the cockpit's hush, revelation stirs, not butchers, hunters with honor. Troutloft's creed blooms, a quiet dawn against the Reich storm. The cripple limps on, oblivious guardian now in tow. Below, the sea whispers secrets, waves like judgment's fingers. Franz scans the mirrors, no pursuit yet, but Jever's eye watches. One circuit, then decide. Killer, what? Escort? Madness. The bomber's course bends English ward, a fragile vector home. Franz slots in. Distant wingtip vigil, the chasm bridged by a single unpulled trigger. I've danced death enough. Today I choose life, for them, for the boy I was. Oxygen hisses steady, mask fogged with resolve. The Revy dims unused, guns cold. 27 stays 27, legacy and mercy not lead. Wingmen grumble but hold formation, loyalty's leash. The North Sea scrolls indifferent, Dutch dikes fading astern. What would Troutloft say? You did right, Franz. The sky remembers. Or the Gestapo, treason. The news risk mounts with each mile, flak holes from afar winking warning. But the cripple's thrum calls, engines mismatched, yet singing survival's song. Franz adjusts trim, easing closer, not to kill, but to cloak. Gestures unspoken, a rock of wings, a signal to surrender? No, the bomber holds course, turrets tracking wary. They fear me still, as they should. The moral chasm closes, not in thunder, but in the weightless hush of choice. I've hunted shadows long enough. The fighter that hunted in shadow was about to fly in light. The North Sea is a vast, indifferent forge. Waves hammered flat by wind, capped in lace of spume that stings like shrapnel spray. At 2,000 feet, the air is denser, heavier, laden with salt and the faint, acrid ghost of distant flak. Ye Olde Pub plows through it, a leviathan adrift, her 4 right cyclones murmuring a fractured hymn. 2 steady throbs, 1 faltering cough, the fourth a ragged wheeze trailing oily veils into the slipstream. The fuselage bears the raid stigmata, jagged tears in the waist where wind howls like a dirge through the rents, carrying the sea's chill to claw at exposed skin. Frost etches the trailing edges, a brittle filigree against the aluminum's dull gleam. From the cockpit, Charlie Brown spots the hunter first, a silver needle threading the clouds astern, black cross stark on wings like a brand of judgment. 109. Clean lines, no damage. He's fresh, we're meat. The mirrors confirm, no formation ghosts, no P-47 shadows, just the Gustav, closing deliberate 500 yards and telescoping fast. Charlie's hand twitches to the yoke, instinct screaming evade, but the pub's too lame, rudder sluggish, ailerons protesting with hydraulic groans. Charlie, intercom. Crew, bandit 6 o'clock level, German fighter single, guns hot, track him. Panic ripples the wire, voices overlapping in the static snow. I see him. Closing fast. From the ball, voice pitching high. He's on us, skipper. Turrets jammed, can't traverse. Waste port locked and loaded. Come on, you bastard. Manual. Starboard clear, give him the greeting. Guns stutter to life, 50 cals barking defiance despite the freeze, tracers arcing rearward in lazy gold spirals. But the shots pull wide, wind whipping the muzzles, the rounds lost to the sea's maw. Nellie Forbes swings his top turret with a grunt, twin Brownings chattering, but the angle's wrong. The 109 slips low, evading easy as a minnow. Frank Mazzano crosses himself at the radio, fingers fumbling a white phosphorus flare. Frank, Mayday, Mayday, straggler under attack, position 53 north, 04 east. No reply, but the ethers hiss. Al Yelasanko, bandaged face slick with sweat snow, charts frantic vectors on his knee. Coast 20 miles if he fires now. Head for clouds, Charlie, low deck ahead. But the Gustav doesn't fire. It ghosts closer, 200 yards, wingtip rocking gentle. A query? A taunt? Franz Stigler, in White 12's cockpit, feels the bomber's wake buffet his mount. The B-17's bulk swelling to fill the Ravy sight. They're aiming. Good lads. Fight to the end. His thumb rests light on the gun button, cannons armed and hungry, but the trigger stays virgin. Instead, he waggles wings, once, twice, a Luftwaffe signal. Surrender. Bail out. I'll cover. Through the pub's fractured waist windows, the crew glimpses him. The Black Cross pilot, helmeted silhouette, gloved hand raised in unmistakable gesture. Jump, it says. The drink's kinder than the pens. Stan's finger tightens on his trigger, rage and fear a cocktail in his veins. He's waving us down, like we're dogs. Manny, hose him. Manuel hesitates, eyes locking on the fighter's rock. Not aggressive dive, but parallel slot, 50 yards off the port beam. Madre de Dios. He's escorting. The guns fall silent, barrels smoking futile in the gale. Lloyd Jennings, peering from the chin turret, whispers a Kansas prayer. Not yet, Lord. Not like this. Franz's world is a symphony of tension. The DB-601's steady pulse, wind keening over the canopy, the distant bark of the fortress's guns fading to echoes. Oxygen hisses cool into his mask, sharpening the vista. The B-17's crew, etched in plexiglass vignettes, a gunner bandaged, waving frantic, the pilot's head turning, eyes meeting his across the void. They see me not as death, but decision. Eric and Carl orbit wide, confused vectors on the RT. Lead, why the pass? I can take the engines. Fox 3. Negative, Blue 2. Negative all. Stay high. Cover only. The lie tastes bitter, but resolve steals it. Treason's shadow grows. But this honors the code. Troutloft's parachute creed thrums in his blood. Hunters, not executioners. He eases throttles, matching the pub's limp 150 knots, slotting in off the beam, wingtip to wingtip vigil 30 yards close. The bomber rocks in his prop wash but holds, a testament to Yankee grit. Gestures fly now, frantic semaphore. Franz points down, then seaward, ditch. Chutes open, I'll shield. Charlie, spotting the signal, banks slight starboard, away from the gesture, holding course for the invisible English line. No, Charlie's eyes say through the glass, home or hell. Pinky catches it too, flask forgotten in his lap. He's not shooting. Charlie, he's pacing us, like a wolf herding sheep, or a shepherd. The thought unbidden, absurd in the roar. But the 109 holds parallel, no dive, no burst, just the fragile wing beat, Black Cross and stars and bars in improbable duet. Tension coils like a spring in sub-zero winds, the sea below gnashing foam teeth, horizon blurring to a promise of coast. Flak holes pock the distant clouds, coastal batteries stirring, black puffs blooming lazy at 5,000 feet, shrapnel pattering the waves like frozen hail. A shell bursts wide, shockwave buffeting both ships. The pub yaws hard, number 4 engine belching flame before Charlie feathers it dead. Smoke billows thicker, a funeral pyre's precursor. Lost 4. Crew, brace, we're light now but dropping. Al's voice cracks. 1,500 feet, waves closing, if we hit water. Bob, in the ball turret, curls tighter. The seas tilt a vertigo dream. Lakes back home don't eat you alive. The crew's bond phrase at edges. Stan's moans from the waist. Manuel's litany in Spanish. Nellie's psalm trailing off, but holds in the shared gaze aft to the guardian shadow. Franz feels the wrist crest. Jevers radio probes. Blue leader status. Kill confirmed. His squawk silent. Treason's noose tightening. A flak burst peppers his canopy, shards tinkling harmless. He jinks instinctive but slots back, closer now. 20 yards, wingtips near kissing. They're wounded like August's ship. I couldn't save them. But these... He raises a fist, not threat but salute. Thumb up, then pointing English ward. Go, I'll ward the hounds. Charlie sees, heart slamming. He's guiding us, defying his own. In answer, he rocks wings tentative. Acknowledgement, not surrender. Pinky whoop soft. Pinky saluted Charlie, the crowd saluted. Laughter bubbles, manic in the intercom. Guardian angel with swastikas, I'll drink to that. San Miguel in the cockpit, Mira eso. Revelation dawns slow, luminous as a crack in storm clouds, the empty trigger more profound than gunfire. No dual thunders, instead, engines hum in harmony. The Gustav's sleek purr alongside the pub's laboring growl, a duet across the Amity's chasm. The cockpit's frost thickens, gauges weeping condensation, but warmth blooms unlikely. The fighter's vigil, a shield against the sky's predators. Charlie scans mirrors, the 109 steady, dipping nose to signal low as another flak salvo probes. He's warning us. Al, plot his vector, he's leading home. Al nods, pencil flying. Coast 10 miles, he's buying us time. Frank taps frantic Morse. Friendly fighter? Vector Angels 2 heading 080. But doubt lingers, the crew's eyes flicking rear, trust a fragile bloom. In the waist, Stan props on elbow, peering through the rent. The 109's pilot, visible now, young face behind goggles, not fiend but fellow aviator, gesturing clear skies ahead. Eyes like mine, haunted. Manuel crosses himself. Gracias, hermano del cielo. Franz, in his bubble, mirrors the doubt. They hold course. Brave fools. A distant speck, another 190, Eric's wingman veering curious, prompts a sharp wing waggle. Break off. The intruder peels, Franz's authority a leash. Mine to protect now. Till the line. The horizon fractures, white cliffs pricking the gray, radar towers like skeletal fingers beckoning. Flak intensifies, German shore guns saluting the intruder, bursts stitching the water. The pub shudders under a near miss, deck plating buckling with a scream. Bob yelps as his turret spins wild. We're hit again, ball taking water. But the Gustav dives sudden, drawing fire, tracers lacing his path, 88mm kiss grazing the tail. Franz climbs out, slotting back, unscathed but shaken, for them. The code. His RT stays mute, wingmen distant now, the vigil solitary. Gestures crescendo. Charlie points forward. Thank you, fist to heart. Franz returns it, slow salute. Canopy glinting farewell as the pub crosses the invisible pale into allied ether. No victory roll, no vengeance. Just the wingtips whisper, engines fading in accord. Revelation seals, enemies mirrored in fragility, the skies divide collapsed in grace's glide. The North Sea falls astern, a gray testament to the unpulled trigger. We chose each other, both pilots think, unspoken. It didn't fire when it closed, it simply guided what it spared. The white cliffs of Dover rise like a benediction from the sea's froth, radar masts saluting the prodigal's return. Ye Olde Pub crosses the threshold invisible, from contested gray to allied blue, engines gasping their last, props feathering in wind-whipped prayer. The North Sea's chill yields to England's damp embrace, fields below a quilt of hedgerow and hoarfrost, church spires pricking the mist like fingers to heaven. No flak greets her now. Instead, the hum of Mustangs on patrol, P-51s wheeling curious at the straggler's silhouette, their pilot's keen queries, bogey or bird. In the cockpit, Charlie Brown eases the yoke, the pub settling into a shallow glide, flaps extended ragged on emergency air. Fuel needles kiss zero, vapors in the lines, the ship a hollowed hulk held aloft by will alone. The guardian shadow peels away, the The 109 banking graceful starboard, a final wing waggle across the pale, black cross catching sun like a reluctant farewell. Gone. As sudden as he came. Charlie's chest tightens, not relief's flood, but awe's quiet tide. Crew. He's breaking off. Coast clear, we're home. Cheers erupt, ragged and raw over the intercom. Whoops from the waist, a sob hiccup from the ball. By God, skipper, that kraut played shepherd. Saw his salute, clean as a whistle. I'll buy the bar around for Fritz the Friendly. A miracle, hermanos. San Pedro at the stick. Al Yelasanko slumps back, compress loosening, a ghost smile cracking his wounds. Vector home. Angels watch, even German ones. But the landing's hush descends swift, the pub's shadow racing runways at seething. The 379th's muddy nest, control tower, a brick bunker blinking green. Charlie lines up, wheels down with a grind of struts, the beast kissing earth in a skid of rubber and resolve. Propellers blur to halt, the final engine coughing silent, silence blooming profound as the unpulled trigger. Ground crew swarms, crash trucks idling, medics with stretchers. But the crew stumbles out unassisted, 9 were 10 boarded, Hugh's absence a shadow in the snow. Lloyd Jennings, chin turret survivor, clasps Charlie's shoulder. We made it, skipper. For Hughie. Nellie hoists stand fireman style, the pole protesting weak. Put me down, you Canuck ox, I can limp. Bob unfolds from the ball like a newborn foal, legs numbed ghosts, collapsing into Frank's hug. Brothers, battered, but breathing. Debriefs follow in the ready room, steam from mugs chasing the chill, the raid's rout, the cripples drift, the fighters vigil. But the tale hushes quick, brass eyes narrow at the Mercy's mention. Intelligence officer, a 109 escort? Write it as evasion, Brown. No crowd angel stories, protects the bastard if he's real, protects him. Charlie nods, pen scratching sanitized lies, but in the quiet of his cot that night, the salute replays, fist to heart across the void. Who were you, stranger? Risked the rope for ghosts you couldn't name. The pub mends, patched and repainted, flying 13 more missions till VE Day's hush. Charlie rotates stateside, West Virginia's hills calling, fiddles and fireflies, a girl named Mary waiting with a porch swing's sway. Pinky farms Idaho soil, spuds yielding fat under his hands. Al finds America whole, Ukrainian songs to new stars. Stan dances Chicago polkas, legs scarred but strong. Manuel pens boleros to Maria, hips swaying eternal. Bob fishes Minnesota lakes, quilts warmer now. Nellie carves decoys in Nova Scotia fog. Frank raises Sicilians in Brooklyn brick. Lloyd harvests Kansas gold, amber waves unbroken. But the ghost lingers, the empty trigger, a talisman in letters home. We were dead men, Charlie writes Mary, till a devil turned dove. Crew reunions swell, 46 in a VFW hall, beers foaming toast to the pub's luck. Hugh's chair empty but wreathed in poppies. Whispers of the Guardian ripple. Ace, they say. Stigler, maybe. Luftwaffe logs hint at a missing kill. But archives mock, names lost in Reich's ash. Franz Stigler survives the war's maw. JG-11 dissolves in rubble. White 12 a trophy for scrap. He hitches to Bavaria, Obertraubling's Edelweiss crushed under tanks, but home endures. A wife named Hella, children to chase the desert dust from his dreams. 27 kills. But the one I spared, it haunts sweeter. Troutloft's creed shields him at Nuremberg's fringe. No treason charge, just a pilot's parole. He flies crop dusters post-war, wings clipped but soul aloft. The North Sea's wingtip a private sacrament. I saw their eyes. Boys like August, chose the mirror over the metal. Years dissolve like contrails, Korea's jets, Vietnam's thunder, but the vigil sleeps in yellowed logs, a footnote in Luftwaffe lore. 40 winters on, Charlie, now silvered, lines etched like flak scars, pores over microfiche in a VA library's glow. Mary's gone to cancer's quiet, but the crew's bond endures, annual postmarks from Boise to Brooklyn. Retirement's gift, time to hunt ghosts. Who was he? That salute? It saved more than the pub. Archives yield crumbs. JG-11 rosters a name, Franz Stigler, 27 kills, unclaimed straggler over Jever, December 43. A letter penned in 85 mailed to a German Veterans League. To the pilot of the Me-109 who spared Ye Olde Pub, if you read this, know your mercy flew us home. Charlie Brown, 379th BG. The reply crackles months later, onion skin envelope postmarked Munich, script precise as a vector. Franz's hand, steady still, I was the one. White 12, you flew straight, I could not fire, Godspeed old friend. Enclosed a photo faded, the Gustav's nose, kill bars stark, a young face grinning defiant, tears blur the ink, mirror found. Charlie dials the crew, voices crackling like old intercoms. Pinky, the angel. Real? Hell, Charlie, get him here. Rum for the Reich, he earned it. The reunion dawns humid, Michigan's lakes steaming under summer sun. 47 years melted to this. Charlie, 68, in a polo faded as his flight jacket, clasps Franz's hand. 75 now, Bavarian stock sturdy, eyes like the North Sea's gray. No uniforms, just slacks and stories, the crew arrayed. Survivors 6 strong, chairs for the ghosts. Pinky pumps Franz's arm. Pinky, you son of a gun. Thought angels had halos, not black crosses. Laughter rolls, warm as the flask's brandy. Franz smiles, accent thick as Edelweiss. No angel, Herr Brown. Just a pilot who remembered chivalry. Your ship, she fought proud, I saw brothers in her wounds. They toast in the hangar. A B-17 shell, repainted pub facsimile, nose art jaunty anew. Beers foam, tails tumble, the flaks hail, Hugh's final hum, the wingtips whisper. Stan slaps Franz's back. Stan, you risk the news for us Polacks and Yankees? Here's to bad math. Manuel raises a conga line, boleros clashing with leader. Al sings Dnieper dirges, Ukrainian to German in bridge. Bob, cherub no more, sketches the vigil on a napkin. Guardian and ghost, wing to wing. Photos flash. Hands clasped, salutes mirrored. The 43 gesture reborn in flesh. Franz traces the pub's scars. I flew home alone that day. Thought of you often. Mercy, it weighs more than lead. Charlie nods, fist to heart. You saved belief, Franz? In us, in the sky's code. The bond seals. Letters bridge the Atlantic, flight swap continents. Franz to Miami 92, Charlie to Munich 95, crew picnics under contrails. Legacy unfurls. Adam Makasis, a higher call in 2012, pages turning the footnote to fable. Sabaton's thunderous ballad, No Bullets Fly, amps arenas with the empty triggers hush. A B-17 repainted, Ye Olde Pub reborn at air shows, Franz and Charlie taxing tandem till age grounds them. Lloyd Jennings, Last Ember, fades 2016, but whispers the tale to the end. Mercy glides home. Franz's stone, simple granite, Jagdflieger. 27 Luftsiege, und ein Herz für nada. Charlie, wheelchair-bound but unbowed, scatters Edelweiss, Mary's ring glinting on his finger. Full circle. Enemies to echoes. The wind carries it, engines humming improbable salutes across decades. The tale soars. Documentaries splice archival rumble with survivor tapes. Models of White 12 nestle beside pub kits in hobby shops. Schoolrooms recite the truce, boys dreaming cockpits anew. One choice outlives 1,000 kills, the soul's quiet rebellion, proving war's roar yields to grace's glide. They thought enemies filled the clouds. But the heavens answer only to grace. In the end, the escort didn't just save a bomber, it saved the idea of us. They aimed at what they feared, and found a mirror of their own fragility. Mercy doesn't always thunder. Sometimes it glides beside you home. In war, the rarest sound isn't victory's roar, it's the silence of a shared breath. If you believe one act of mercy outshines 1,000 battles, subscribe for more untold World War II tales of the human sky.